So I'm at the end of my Airbnb. Tonight is my last night staying in this a very unique setup in Las Vegas. It's really interesting. This place is basically set up into three different Airbnbs. So there's no owner that lives in the home, which I've never had that. And mine is a converted garage that is great. Little side entrance, have my washer dryer, little mini kitchen, nice bathroom, all the extras, things that are necessary. Just space to work, a bed, pretty comfy. So it's been good for my month-long stay. But they didn't do any insulation between me and the people on the other side of the wall. When I first moved in, I could hear people, I could hear conversations. And I thought, oh, this is weird. I've never had that. You might hear like a dog or a kid or neighbors above or, you know, the city sounds, but not full conversations of the people. And here I could. So on Monday, all of a sudden I hear people and they come in, they're excited, they're energized, and they get to business. They have sexy time right there on the other side of the wall. Mind you, I'm having a business meeting on my computer, so I can't quite stop my call. And they are having quite a good time. It didn't last long, but they had fun. But they didn't know I was on the other side. So I'm trying to tune them out. But as the time went on, the poor gal, she has some definite exhaustion emotionally. She would have breakdowns regularly, crying, hysterical, whimpering, upset beyond measure. They would get in these huge fights. He kept calm, but she would go on tangent for about 5 to 7 minutes. Mind you, I turned up the music and tried to be quiet, but it was also like I had to keep working myself. So I tried not to pay attention, but this has gone on for almost a month and I'm exhausted. I noticed that I was becoming more emotional. I'm not an emotional person, I don't cry much, but oh my gosh, I have been so tired and so drained. I've even cried. I was like, what is flipping going on? That I'm realizing is that I am feeding off this energy of this poor gal who is so upset. She will just curl in a corner and cry and cry. As you know, my secret life that I'd like to talk about, this in a weird, peculiar way helped me to kind of understand even more parts of the secret life. We have these secret lives nobody knows about. You don't really expect your neighbor to hear everything that's going on. I did not expect to hear my neighbor. Little sheetrock would have gone a long ways for these guys. But it also is reminding that you have to protect your energy. I definitely was not getting my energy protected enough with this. I just am an optimistic person. I kept thinking it was going to get better, it was going to be less of a hassle, and it was going to, just be a couple spurts here and there. So it was just more work for me to relocate. I had already gotten situated. The options that were there were not good. So, and I really like my little place. I like my place a lot. But it definitely zapped my thinking, zapped my creativity, zapped my energy, zapped my optimism, and made me way more sensitive to things. She is a very stressed out individual. She's a very emotional person. She is somebody who definitely is trying her best, but the world is difficult. Crazy thing is, I've never actually seen either of them. They're just this figment, but I feel like they represent a lot of people, a lot of couples. He's got a partner that's very emotional. She's challenged with being able to regulate her emotions and her anxiety. Anytime something extra was happening, she would just burst into tears, whether she was home alone or she was with him. So she definitely wasn't doing it to get a reaction out of him. He didn't know what to do with her, and he did have a nice calmness to him. He knows what he's trying to do and deal with. But then there's also just the energy draining that happens when you've just got a lot of emotions. It's interesting, like I could hear them open the fridge, which I've never known somebody to open the fridge that much. And I can hear them pop the cans open. I can hear the water bottle lid pop off. I can hear the door buttons being pushed for the key code to unlock their door, which was a distance from my side. It was everything. So all I can say is, I wish they got back to having the sexy, fun, flirty conversations instead of the all nighters or the meltdown conversations. But this is what the secret life is, what's happening behind closed doors. I think that's kind of the irony of my business of sharing and help people to see beyond, being able to be yourself, be who you are when no one's looking or no one's listening. Be open to possibilities. Like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep this conversation going.